sources. We had a very clear agreement with all those sources that our interviews would be on deep background. We have not said anything about where that quote comes from, and we haven't talked about what the sourcing is of it is.
Based on your own ground rules, that wouldn't come from Harry Reid, correct?
No, we're not saying where it came from because we need to protect all our sources. The reason we've been able to tell the stories we have.
But what I'm saying though is, hold on, so the game rule that you have is you guys tell us everything that you got, and we won't attach your name to it. So if Harry Reid's name is attached to that quote, it couldn't have come from Harry Reid based on your own ground rules, correct?
No, Joe. Our ground rules are that we want to identify any of our sources as the sources of the material, but we said to them all very clearly that if they put themselves in scenes of the book, if they were uttering dialogue to people in the book, in part of a scene, that we would identify them as the utterer of those words.
We haven't burned any. We did not, very carefully and meticulously. There's no one we talked to for the book who we burned in any way or violated any agreement with.
So you disagree with Harry Reid's assessment that you guys broke any understanding with him?
Well, I don't know that he's saying that, but we would disagree with anybody who we talked to for the book who says we in some way violated our professional understanding with them.
Let's talk about another quote in here that's shocking a lot of people around this table, and I would guess around America. Bill Clinton talking about Barack Obama, recounting a conversation that he had with Bill Clinton. Teddy Kennedy was offended by what Bill Clinton said. Quote about Barack Obama: a few years ago, this guy would have been getting us coffee. Was that a turning point in Kennedy's decision to endorse Barack Obama?
You know, it really was. He was looking, we think, in some ways, to find an excuse or a reason after his friend Chris Dodd got out of the presidential race to endorse Obama. But he had long ties to the Clintons, and he was kind of torn. A lot of people in his family, a lot of the women in his family, were leaning towards Barack Obama. And as Bill Clinton started to court him, the things got a little bit more tense. Obama used a softer touch in going after Kennedy's endorsement. In the case of Bill Clinton, this is kind of the holy grail. One of the things for us in reporting the book, we knew, because it was widely said, that there was something, one particular thing that Bill Clinton had said to Ted Kennedy that really set the late senator off. We worked really hard for this one because it was a little bit of a holy grail, and that's what he said to him. And again, according to our sources, that is the thing that kind of crystallized it for Kennedy and said, this is too much. We want to move on and go to Obama.
You've had a good relationship with the Clintons through the years as a reporter. You haven't been inappropriately close, but you've had a good relationship with the Clintons, wouldn't you say?
You talking to me?
Yes.
A very healthy, professional, long-standing relationship.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. You also. The Bill Clinton quote there is pretty devastating. Also, something that just jumped off the page here. After Hillary Clinton lost Iowa, the Clintons' shock quickly gave way to anger. How did this happen? The Clintons asked again and again. Clinton advisors found the display they were witnessing now utterly stunning and especially unnerving coming from Hillary. Watching her bitter and befuddled reaction, her staggering lack of calm or command, one of her most senior lieutenants thought for the first time, quote, this woman shouldn't be president. Take us inside that room. That is a stunning assessment of a woman who many of us, I believe, ran a remarkable campaign in 2008.
Well, you know, the Clintons, Joe, had been in a bad position. Hillary Clinton had been in a bad position in Iowa all throughout 2007, and yet they continued to push more and more chips into the table, into the center of the table. They spend more and more money on the theory that if they could win in Iowa, the race would be over. And on that night of the Iowa caucuses, they had their closest friends, Tom Vilsack, the former governor of Iowa, telling them that she would finish first, and at worst she'd finish second. Now she learns that she's a far off third, and that she's lost every segment of the electorate to Barack Obama, including the women's vote. Both of them were stunned and angry. She was had no composure whatsoever. She looked at her prepared remarks for her concession speech. She cast them aside and decided to ad lib. She made a kind of cursory, ungenerous phone call of congratulations to Obama. Bill Clinton sat in this small, kind of dark, badly furnished living room, simmering, angry at Bill Richardson for having betrayed Hillary Clinton by making a deal with Barack Obama.
They actually both thought that, according to your book, that the Obama campaign had cheated and shipped in people outside of Iowa to vote in the caucuses.
Correct. And in fact, Bill Clinton kept on with that claim, not only that night when he said that he thought they had cheated and bussed in supporters from Illinois, but 5 days later in New Hampshire, he was still talking about it, and Hillary Clinton was still making that claim as late as the summer of 2008, as we report in the book. She's sitting talking to Mark Penn about what went wrong, and she's still saying that Obama stole the Iowa caucuses 6 months later.
All right, I want to talk about Sarah Palin and how you guys describe her reaction to getting chosen. Let's read from this. Palin would rejoin McCain the next morning for the announcement of her selection. In the air, Palin appeared perfectly serene. 5 days earlier, this woman had been living in relative obscurity without even the faintest inkling that she was being seriously considered to be McCain's running mate. And yet, here she was, totally unruffled, utterly unflustered, not even terribly excited. "You seem very calm, not nervous," Steve Schmidt said. Palin nodded and replied, "It's God's plan."
Amen.
Sounds like the Sound of Music.
So tell us about not only that quote, but also
She's the one they were waiting for.
the shocking news that Joe Lieberman was actually the pick before Palin.
You know, Joe, people have reported in the past that Lieberman was on the list, that it was someone McCain was really drawn to, but we found in reporting for the book, much to our surprise, that this was not just an option, it was really the leading option, and it would have been in its own way a game-changing pick. Steve Schmidt, Rick Davis, and the other McCain people knew McCain had to pick someone that would change the dynamic. The wrong track in the country was 90%. Bush, incredibly unpopular. They needed a pick that would really change things.
Okay,
Lieberman
we're
would
going to
have
stop
done that,
now, but we'll come
it
back
blew up
with
because
part
word
2
leaked out
of
he
this
was under
video
consideration.
segment.
The conservatives told the campaign, including Karl Rove,